Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tim Silverman. I'm the acting principal here at the moment. It's wonderful to see you here for Principal's Hour. This semester we have various spots each week as part of Principal's Hour, and we've been having a couple on guidance. It's a question that many of us wrestle with, especially those of you who are studying at college. What would the Lord have me do when I've finished here? The next task is clear. You need to get your assignments in. But beyond that, things can get a little bit hazy. So we thought, what better way to explore this issue than to hear from the wisdom and experience of some of our faculty. We heard from Jasmine Lee a little while ago, but it's my privilege to welcome Alan Mugridge to come and share with me some of his story. So please welcome Alan. So welcome, Alan. Now, Alan, you have been here on faculty at SMBC for 31 years. So you win the prize as the longest serving, most faithful member of faculty.
Well, longest serving anyway.
And we're very, very thankful for the ways that you have served here at the college. But we're going to take a bit of a wander back through your journey. Before coming to SMBC, you served God in other contexts. And so we want to hear a little bit about how God led you in those various ways. But before that, let me start by asking, when you think about decision-making and understanding God's will, what sort of framework do you have for approaching that question?
Well, it's mine's fairly straightforward. Pray, talk, pray and decide.
I could write that down, I think. Pray. I don't even need to. Pray, talk, pray and decide. That's good.
That's it.
Do you want to flesh that out at all?
Praying, that's straightforward. Talking might be talking to various people to find out information. It might be talking to your spouse to see if they're on board with it, or even your children, if you have children, to check that it's okay with them. And then when you've done all the talking and finding out information and prayed again, you just decide.
Wonderful. Okay. So help us now enflesh that idea for us a little bit through your story. So how did you decide? You were a high school teacher, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Once.
Once? Probably more than once. How did you decide to get from there into vocational ministry?
Well, it started a little earlier than that, actually. I became a Christian in year 10 at school, the 68 Billy Graham Crusade. And when I was in year 11 or so, I remember in our youth group, writing a letter to my youth group leader saying I disagreed with his interpretation of 1 Corinthians 7. And Leon Morris was with me, and he was wrong. Anyway, so by the time I got through year 11, I was on the way to reading F.F. Bruce's commentary on Hebrews. And in year 12, my youth group leader decided to encourage me to take the Moore College External Studies course. And part of that, you could do it in those days, you could do a couple of units on Greek. So he got me a Greek New Testament, and in year 12 I started working on Greek. And so I was heading for Christian ministry of some sort, but I remember going to one of these careers advisors at Sydney Uni who said, hang on, why don't you do something else first and get some experience of life, which was fair enough. And that's how, after uni, I decided I became a maths teacher for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Anyway, through theological college, I remember I did okay, and I worked in a parish church ministry for a couple of years. I was asked to do some part-time lectures, evening lectures at different couple of places, and then Wendy and I got married in the meantime, by the way. That's who I wanted to talk to about these things. Anyway, we were thinking that maybe theological education overseas in some places might be good. So we spent time talking to people to find out if there was a need, and we talked to a number of people about that. And then we talked to people about whether this would be a disaster for our family. And some of the people we spoke to in the end persuaded us that it wouldn't be. And so we sort of ran out of excuses. And so we applied to CMS. Mm-hmm. And when CMS sent letters to various people to ask if they'd want someone like me, only one place said yes, so that was it.
Right, there you go.
So praying and then talking about information, talking to the people who are involved in that decision with you, and then deciding. And so we decided and applied to CMS, and that's how it ended up. Yeah.
So you were serving then in Tanzania for quite a while?
6 years.
Yep.
Or so. And then when we came back here, I didn't know whether to go in. I was thinking about a church ministry of some sort, but Yvonne Patterson, who was teaching New Testament here, developed chronic fatigue, so the job opened up here, position, and so I came for an interview and they said yes.
Right. Just talked to numerous people along the way. But so there were a number of people, though, who sort of prompted you, didn't there? So you had leaders who were like, maybe you should go to more college.
Yeah, there was a youth group leader who was very influential, and part of the reason I pursued that course, I think, was that it was so formative for me to be studying the Bible and reading and understanding and learning and growing, that I thought, wow, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, wonderful.
So in a way, I suppose I could call my philosophy of guidance something like Christian pragmatism, or maybe sanctified common sense. But pray, talk, pray, and decide.
Pray, talk, pray, and decide. Can I just ask one final question, I guess, is when you think about how does your understanding of God, I guess, lots of people have their theology ultimately shapes their action. How does your understanding of God kind of influence that Christian pragmatism, if I can ask?
Well, yes, I'm not a great fan of, trying to discern what the will of God might be, because I don't think there's any promise in the Bible that he's going to sort of reveal that. So I just trust that the Lord God works through his people and works in the world and works through prayers. And so I suppose in a way it's trusting that the Lord God is in control, and praying to do the right thing and deciding to do the right thing and trusting that he can use us in whatever way that may be.
That's wonderful. Well, we're very thankful that in God's ways he led you here to serve amongst us. And hopefully that'll encourage you as you consider what the future might hold. Thanks, Hill.